Hello everyone, my name is Yuri from Mouse, and we are here at the Bend, and we are here middle of the earth temperatures. There will be a theme throughout the lap guide, how to manage that not just on one lap in qualifying, because it's not that hard in qualifying, especially in the race. These races will be lost and won by managing your tires. So we'll go over not just what lines to take, but also how to manage the tires and get the edge over your opponents. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to the start of the lap. We are full tank, hot tires, and it doesn't make much to make these tires hot because the track is full lava. We are in the middle of summer, in the middle of the day, in Australia, so we're gonna have to take care of the tires, and we do that by not oversending the entries and not inducing a slide there. Turn 1 we brake at around 100. Keep it tight around the second apex to get a decent entry in the last. Careful of the rear start stepping out here. Then a flat out kink. Brake in between the 100 and the 50 here. And again, careful of the rear start stepping out here. Full throttle through here. And in the middle we're gonna have to start the lift and try to put as much weight on the front as we can to get as much rotation as we can. But as you can tell, there isn't much. Keep it tight through here. Extend a lot on the exit here. Brake at about the 50. Try to keep the speed up the hill here. Brake just before the curb on the right side. Let the car run wide naturally in the middle. Late apex. Brake at about the 70 here. This corner is deceptively slow. And then the last corner is deceptively fast. Just make sure you have a bit of front left to finish the lap. And that's the lap around the bend, and good luck in your next ones, keeping the front tires alive. Alright, so let's have a bit of a closer look from the outside cam. Run up to turn 1. Just want to keep it to the left hand side. And there's a cone on the left here that we can use as a brake marker, but I'm trying to brake just before the 100. And just have your car on the left so you can brake as much in a straight line as you can. And this will be for every corner here. Because of the heat and how hot the track is, we want to take care of the tires, especially the front ones. Don't try to go onto the brakes too fast. If you go onto the brakes a bit slower, the weight transfer from the car, from the middle of the car to the front of the car, is a bit more gentle, and it helps keep your tires alive a bit longer. So for turn 1, just make sure you don't exit out too wide to the outside curb there. Keep it around the middle. That way we can sacrifice the left-hander a bit in the middle here. And try to have a decent entry into the last tight right-hander. So we don't want to end up all the way on the right side of the track here. So we want to give ourselves a bit of room to start turning in before we get to the curb. Then when we get to the curb here, we're gonna have to pick up the throttle, and this is a very long sweeping exit where if you go a bit too fast, too early, and the rear starts sliding, you won't really recover. So you have to be really careful with this initial throttle application to keep the rear in check the whole way around. And then we can use all the curb on the exit. Let's look at the data. When we get into turn 1 here, slowly on the brakes, kind of potato brake, and slowly off of it. And that's the thing we want to do here a lot, like I talk about. You don't want to too hard go onto the brakes. We want to keep those tires cool as much as we can. It's very important here. And then don't exit too wide. You can see on the right side on the track map. In the second left-hander, I tried to go quite slow to keep in the middle of the road, to maximize my entry to this tight right-hander. And you can see we have to be really careful with the throttle pickup. From 50%, really slowly building this up, really slowly building this up. Make sure that we don't lose the rear on the exit here. If you lose the rear early, as I said, you're gonna be in trouble this whole exit, this whole run. You'll lose a lot of time. You won't really recover that. So especially in the race, manage those tires, and we do that by going onto the brakes slowly. Don't peak brake too hard. Make sure you're not in the ABS, trailing off of it, and slowly back onto the power outside of these slow corners. Then we have easy flat through the kink here. And then we have another quite tricky braking because, I don't know, maybe they're Australian or something and they're sitting on the wrong side of the car. But instead of putting the brake markers on the right side where we're driving, they put them on the left side. So you have to look quite far to the left while you have to get your car set up on the right side. I'm braking quite a bit for me, from my perspective, after the 100. So it looks like this, right here, and then slowly go into the brakes. So if you look from the outside, it's almost at the 100 marker, but because the markers are so far to our left, I don't see this one. You don't even see it on the third person view anymore. And then again, try to be really careful on the entry here. If you're in the ABS on the entry, you're going to heat your tires up, and it's going to be the common trend of this video. Heating your tires up here is the enemy. So you want to be really careful with the brakes. Not much brakes carrying into the corner. And careful with the throttle again as well to avoid that initial slide. And then this corner here is the understeer corner from hell. We want to be on throttle, that means the weight will be on the rear axle. But we also want to turn, and this front left won't be loaded very much. And it's our job to try to load it as much as possible so the car turns a bit. It's not easy, and this tire also starts to overload because it's such a long right-hander here. So what you see I do here is I'm not just full throttle, I also press the brake a bit to try to force a bit of the weight to this front tire to get a bit more rotation. So the whole time I try to keep my throttle fairly steady, try to keep a bit of weight on the front. And as you can see, going over the curb here, getting even more understeer. Maybe it's better to just stay off of it. But the whole point of this whole corner is trying to keep your left front turning, trying to not overheat it, and trying to keep a bit of weight on it. And you do that by your throttle and brake input. Then we can finally give the front left a bit of rest for about half a corner, where we just want to set up the next right-hander. So we come from about the middle of the track, maybe even a bit more to the right, and set up so that we're not entering all the way from the right side here, but giving us a bit of room to start the corner. Put the right side tires on or just over the curb, and then on exit we can run very wide here. Even hitting these cones is not an off-track. I don't know how much you can hit the cones, but just hitting the cones is not an off-track. Only here you need to be careful of not being too much off the road. Then we get to the last sector, which is very tricky because all the corners, the exits are blind. So we want to brake it around the 50 here, and we want to use this uphill where the car gets compressed into the road to get the rotation. And when we get to the top of the crest here, and afterwards the car naturally understeers, and we want to use it to let the car naturally glide out to the outside. So we brake just before the 50. We try to get most of our turning done when the car compresses here, so that when we get to the top here, the car's already pointing towards the exit. Use the curb. Brake just before the curb on the right hand side here. We don't have to use the annoying marker that's far to the left on this point. Try to let the car naturally run out to the outside here, and then I like to turn in very late for this corner here. So we turn in very late, and then we can be back on the power quite early because we apex so late here. Be careful of the off-track on the right side here. Even if your left side tire is on the road, it's possible to get an off-track. Then we get to this very deceptive right-hander. It feels like a normal 90-degree corner, but it's much tighter than that. So we brake just after the 100. Keep it tight, second gear. And then we get to the last corner, and especially deeper in your stint, your left front will start to be begging for mercy. And the way we try to give it a bit more grip is on entry, tap the brake a bit and keep it a bit easier on the entry. At the start of stint in qualifying, you can try to really put a lot of weight into this, just lean on the left front. In the race, I would recommend taking it a bit easier like I do here. And then fire it out. And you completed your lap, ready for a new lap on this lava temperature. Alright, so there we go. In this European winter, we're used to colder tracks, but this will be quite a challenge. If you can master this though, there will be big differences in the race, and you'll have quite a lot of an advantage over the rest of the field if you can just manage those tires better, even if you have to start out a tiny bit slower. If you enjoyed watching this guide, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you want to see more videos like this, I'll be next week for the next track guide.